All right, so season 3 of Cobra Kai. If you have not seen this season, or really any of the seasons so far, then I'd recommend you do not watch this review. If you don't want any spoilers for Cobra Kai, go watch my season 1 review, which, has some stuff that I talk about a little bit, but for the most part, that's a non spoiler review and kind of has my thoughts on this series as a whole, at least what I've seen so far, which I have seen up to season 4, or not up to season 4. I have watched season 4. I have rewatched seasons 1 through 3 multiple times, but season 4 I've only watched once. So that's the one I needed a refresher on more than anything. But making my way through these seasons and just rewatching them and enjoying them and giving my thoughts on each one. So, yeah, let's talk about some new cast members in the season. By the way, if you didn't hear me before, spoiler review, so click off, go watch my season 1 review. But new cast members, we have Yuji Okamoto, hopefully I'm saying that right, as Chosen, who played Chosen in Karate Kid Part 2. He was the villain of that film, and in this in this show, he is definitely a lot more of a good guy. We see him fight with Daniel in Okinawa, which I love the Okinawa scenes in this show, in this season particularly. I don't know if we're going to end up going back there for season 5 because I know Chosen is going to be in that season. But yeah, anything having to do in Okinawa just really made me feel closer to the lore of Karate Kid and making me feel closer to the character of Mr. Miyagi, which obviously that character isn't around in the show, or the actor isn't around in real life either, because he passed away in the show and real life. So, as a Karate Kid fan, that made me feel closer to that character, to that actor, and definitely made me emotional. There are moments in this season where I completely bawled like a baby, and I'm not even ashamed to admit it. But yeah, Chosen shows up in this season, and can't wait to see him again in season 5. Some other new members here, cast members, I should say. Tamlin Tomita, hopefully I'm saying that right, as Kumiko, which is the love interest from Karate Kid Part 2, which Daniel also runs into when he's in Okinawa. And Elizabeth Shue comes back as Allie Mills Schwarber. But yeah, she is recently divorced, gets back in touch with Johnny, has the whole, you see Johnny, Daniel, and Allie all be reunited, and she kind of is their therapist in a way and kind of resolves their issues, which later, in the very end of this season, they go on to combine their dojos and teach together, which, as I remember in season 4, really did not last long, but hey, it is what it is. Speaking of things that did not last long, the whole Miguel being in a coma slash not being able to walk. I mean, it took a little while. I think up until up until episode 5 or 6 is when he was like fully back in shape and good for the most part. Um, so I felt like he got better really quickly. It feels like something that should have taken the whole season, but hey, I mean, I can't complain completely because also in between these moments, like I think a character said, like a certain amount of months have passed by since certain things have happened. So crazier things have happened, especially in this show. But yeah, let's mention some other cast members here. We have these are all characters from, I guess you could say, flashbacks. They're flashbacks for John Kreese, giving him backstory, which we really didn't know a whole lot about. We knew he was in the war or whatever. He was a soldier, and that he saw some crazy shit, and that kind of turned him into the man that he is today. But here we actually get to see it, which I do like for the most part. I like getting the backstory on Kreese, trying to make him a little more sympathetic, but at the same time, completely failing when you see the older, present time version of Kreese, and he is just the most cartoonish villain ever in this show. Honestly, I at times kind of wish Kreese wasn't in the show. And from what I remember, same kind of goes with Terry Silver. They're just way too cartoonish of villains. And I don't know, what would this show be without Terry Silver and John Kreese? I mean, at this point, with Johnny and Daniel being on good terms, there's really not a whole lot of places you can go with that. So you kind of have to have those villains. But if they could make them any less mustache twirling, that would be absolutely perfect for me. I mean, honestly, at times when Kreese is saying his lines and whatnot, like if he had a mustache, he would be twirling it 100%. And there's only so many amount of times that Kreese can say, this is the real world. You got to fight tough. Your enemy is not going to do what, you know what I mean? He says that so many fucking times in so many different ways, yet it's all just the fucking same and it gets annoying. It's something that it just repeats over and over again, and it's just like, shut the fuck up, dude. We get it. You're a fucking mustache twirling villain, as I said before. But yeah, we get Barrett Carnahan, hopefully I'm saying that right, as young Kreese. We also have Nick Marini as Twig slash young Terry Silver, which they kind of set it up to be like, oh, this guy who seems to kind of be a little more tough, that must be Terry Silver. But no, it ends up kind of being the more, wimpy guy, I guess you could say. We get Emily Marie Palmer as Betsy, which is the love interest to the young Kreese, young version of Kreese, which we find out that she dies. And his captain, Captain Turner, played by Terry Serpico, failed to mention that to him because he wanted to have Kreese focused on the mission and ends up trying to use that against him in the end. But you know how that went. Kreese tossed its captain into a pit of snakes, which was pretty fucking cool. But at the same time, in a way, I kind of wish they would have just wrapped up the Kreese flashbacks maybe in like episode 9, because at the point you're at in episode 10, you have this crazy fight that just went down in the LaRusso home between Cobra Kai, Miyagi Do, and Eagle Fang. And by the way, you have Hawk, who has a change of heart in that moment, which I remember thinking it was like so out of nowhere and all of a sudden. And watching it now, they kind of build upon it and kind of show that he has moments where he's like, yes, I miss being with Johnny Lawrence as my sensei. And yes, I feel bad for, breaking Dimitri's arm, which is fucking crazy. And for Dimitri to forgive him so quickly, I was just like, come on, man. I mean, I don't know. He broke your fucking arm, dude. But yeah, I mean, that quick change of heart, I mean, it didn't feel completely organic, but I, at this point, really don't have a problem with it just because I'm ready to see Hawk not be a fucking asshole anymore. I'm honestly so sick of the characters in here being assholes just for the sake of being assholes, like Tori. I mean, in the beginning of the season, when you see her, before Kreese even gets to her, you can see that she feels regret for the things that she did because she knows deep down that she actually is the one that caused all the issues at the school. Which, by the way, completely forgot to mention that this is the first season that Netflix made. Started off on YouTube Red with the first 2 seasons and bought up by Netflix. And this season came out, I believe, in 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Might be 2020. Yeah, 2021, I think. Could be wrong. Huh. I think it might be 2020 because I don't think they did 2 seasons in 1 year. That wouldn't make sense. But, yeah, where was I? Now I just completely got sidetracked. But, yeah, just the villains in here, especially Tori. Like, Tori as a character, I cannot stand her. They try to make her sympathetic in the beginning, and it worked on me for a little bit. But then she went back to being exactly the way she was before, being just psychotic, honestly, and she honestly should be in jail for the things that she did. Robbie included, even. Like, there's a scene in here where she's talking to Robbie about, like, oh, they get to go back to their normal lives, but we gotta, pay the price for it. I'm like, all right, for one, Tori, you were acting like a school shooter. Sorry for saying that on YouTube, but literally grabbing the PA system or whatever it is at the school, be like, Samantha LaRusso, I'm coming for you, bitch. Like, that's some straight up, dude walking into a school ready to, you know what I mean. Like, that's not cool. That's very bad. You could get prison time for that. And then Robbie literally almost killed Miguel. So, yeah, I don't feel bad for these characters whatsoever, especially since Robbie ends up with Kreese at the end of the season. He's just a little punk bitch. And, yeah, I mean, Miguel, I like in this season at least. Sam, I mean, I like her for the most part. But again, I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times more. I don't really care about any other characters in this show other than Johnny and Daniel, and maybe like, I don't know, Miguel. At this point in the series, I don't give a shit about Robbie. I go back and forth between liking him and hating him. Um, but I mean, it all comes down to Johnny and Daniel. That's what we're all here for. That's what we all want to see. At least the diehard, maybe not even diehard, but just, Karate Kid fans in general. That's what we want to see. And the other things I want to see are characters like Kumiko and Chosen and Ali showing up, like those legendary characters from the original, trilogy. I love to see those characters. I love to see those connections. And it's the characters that are kind of made up for the show that seem to fall short a lot of the time, especially since there's so many of them. I mean, the focus for like a lot of the series has to be on Daniel and Johnny because that is the crux of your show. Like without them, you wouldn't have a show. So you gotta make sure that they have enough story going on and make sure that at least your main, four characters have enough going on. The main four kids, I would say, are Robbie, Tori, Miguel, and Sam. Those are the four main kids. The rest of them don't really get a whole lot of character development. Maybe a little bit Hawk, but like I said, the whole change of heart thing he had in that fight that came out of kind of nowhere, and that's because they didn't really develop it a whole lot because literally like 2 episodes earlier he was on a rageful path and beat the fuck out of Brooks like right in front of Kyler, kind of making an example out of him. So it's hard to feel bad or sympathize with these characters when they constantly are doing shitty things. And I have to remember at the end of the day that they're still kids in high school. But even kids in my high school, like I guess I went to a small town high school, but I don't hear about all out karate wars going on in high schools. I mean, granted, I feel like we probably hear about worse going on, but still, like, I mean, this show gets crazy at times. It's very much a love letter to the 80s with just the craziness and just, I mean, yeah, I still love it. I have a lot of complaints about it, but I still love the fuck out of it. Is this my favorite season? No. I think my favorite seasons in order would be, you know, starting with my favorite, it would be one, then two, then three. But still, I like a lot of the things that they had in this season. The production value went way up because it was bought up by Netflix. But I don't know, something about this one, it feels more like a soap opera than it ever has, honestly. So at times like this is how I describe Cobra Kai to people that have not watched it. It's basically just a karate soap opera, but at the same time, I fucking love it just because, of course, I love the original Karate Kid trilogy and I love these characters and I have a lot of fun watching the show, but that doesn't make me completely blind to its issues. Um, but yeah, let me just talk about some of my notes because I literally have like a page and a half full. Let me see what I have here. Production value I already talked about. A couple characters that actually aren't in this season. Paul Walter Hauser as Stingray, which they kind of have a funny line there. That what about that one dude with the neck beard? And he's like, Mr. Stingray never worked for us, and last I heard, he's not allowed like within 500 feet of a school or whatever. So that's kind of funny. We do see him come back, I believe, in season 4. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he comes back in season 4. But oh yes, he does. Yes, I forgot about what happened in season 4 until now, but oh yes, he does. And then Aisha isn't in this season. Not 100% sure why. I mean, they explained that after the fight, the school karate fight, that her parents moved her to a private school. But part of me is wondering, like, because I know the actress lost a lot of weight, like, they didn't kick her off the show because she lost weight and they can't make like fat jokes about her anymore, right? I don't know for sure because they had fat jokes in this season, and I'm just like, don't kick a person off because they lose weight. That's a dick move. But also, she does show up in season 4 for a little bit to kind of guide Sam a little bit. So, I mean, maybe we'll see her come back and be a main character again, but I kind of doubt it. Speaking of coming back, I hope Allie Mills comes back for sure. Elizabeth Shue as Allie. Especially Kumiko. I mean, we know Chosen is coming back, but Kumiko would be cool to see again, and Allie would be fantastic to see again. I love Elizabeth Shue. Loved a lot of the things that she's worked on. The Boys, she was great in that. But it'd be really cool to see her character show up again in the future, which I'm sure they might. But let me see here. Uh, oh yeah, I liked how Chosen honked Daniel's nose, which they don't have a flashback of Daniel honking his nose, so that's kind of like one of those things. If you haven't seen Karate Kid Part 2, then you won't completely understand why he honks his nose. You'll probably just be like, oh, well, he's not a villain. He's a nice dude. He likes to joke around. Um, Let me see here. I already talked about Kreese. I literally wrote, Kreese keeps spewing the same, this is the real world bullshit over and over, but in slightly different ways. Anthony is back this season. Forgot to mention that. He wasn't in the last season at all, I don't think. I could be wrong. Maybe he was in season 2. I don't know. Was he? I don't know for sure. I think he might have been. Um, but yeah, I love seeing the reunion between Daniel and Kumiko, and the reunion between Allie and Johnny and Daniel, and Daniel, kind of becoming buddies with Chosen and learning new things about Miyagi Do, karate, and learning new techniques and whatnot, which he goes on to use, like I said, with Kreese. And I don't know if I said that for sure or not, but let me see here. There was a quote in here, Sam, we're not on school property. This is our chance to fight back. And I said, you're on public property, and this is your chance to get arrested. Yeah, I mean, these characters do not fucking think sometimes. You can't just go out in public and assault people. But hey, you know what? They gotta do that shit for the sake of the show and entertainment. So I get it. Kyler and Brooks, they joined Cobra Kai. As I said before, Brooks get his ass beat by fucking Hawk, and that, even though Hawk was like on the evil side there, I still did not feel bad for Brooks or Kyler. I mean, I almost wish it was Kyler's stupid face that was getting beat. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. I'm sure we'll see that fight again in the future. Let me see here. Um, oh yeah, Johnny obviously starts Eagle Fang Karate, which doesn't last long, kind of because, well, I think next season he is like a sensei for Eagle Fang Karate, and like, I know after a little bit, Daniel and Johnny like have their own separate dojos again. But I mean, I hate that they do that so suddenly. It's just like, work together. I mean, how many times do you have to have this argument of, oh, we're too different, so we can't work together? I don't know why we ever thought we could do this. Stop. Just stop. We've had this conversation so many times. But yeah, Robbie is with Kreese now. And like I said, Robbie's being a little bitch. No offense to the actor, but the character for sure. Yeah, and then Kreese reaches out to Silver, which in the next season we realize Kreese is like, hey, been a long time. And I'm pretty sure Terry Silver just hangs up. But yeah, at first Terry Silver is not into the whole karate idea. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say. I mean, there's a lot of notes I could say here, but at the same time, um, not everything I wrote down is completely important. I mean, there are some important bits here, but I mean, if you've seen the season, which I hope you have because I just spoiled a lot of shit, then you kind of know what's up. But for the most part, I do really like this season. I had a lot of fun with it. I always have fun with Cobra Kai. How many times do I have to say it? I love this show. It's probably one of my favorite shows of all time, even though, yes, there are many, many issues with it in terms of the writing and just the character development and whatnot. Characters flip-flopping back and forth between being a dick and being a good person. I know. But hey, yeah, there's my kind of review / kind of breakdown of Cobra Kai Season 3. What do you think of this season? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you in the middle? What do you think of Cobra Kai in general? Do you love the show? I mean, if you've gotten as far as season 3, I would hope that you like it at least. But yeah, also tell me what you think about the original Karate Kid trilogy. Yeah, I would love to know what you have to say. By the way, I'm not wiping my nose, it's just really itchy. But yeah, would love to know what you have to say down in the comments below. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I'll see you in the next video where I will be reviewing either season 4 of Cobra Kai or the first Clerks movie, because that new Clerks film comes out in, I think, today or tomorrow. It comes out on like a Tuesday, which is kind of weird, but I'll have to wait until Thursday. But thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one.